My name is Rebecca Ramsay, and this is my research proposal for Unit 4402. My research topic is understanding the shame response to positive feedback in vulnerable narcissists. So while virtually all scholars agree that narcissism exists, there is ongoing debate about the origins, presentations, and organisations of narcissistic traits. Historically, clinicians and lay people alike have understood narcissism to involve traits such as maladaptive self-enhancement, a lack of empathy, and disagreeableness. Many people think of CEOs. However, a lesser-known form of narcissism has emerged in the literature and is distinctly different from these grandiose traits. It's characterised by insecurity, sensitivity, and shame, and these traits form part of the definition of vulnerable narcissism. Researchers are able to further distinguish between vulnerable and grandiose narcissism by examining their respective responses to ego threat. While grandiose narcissists may exhibit an externalized response, such as anger or blame, vulnerable narcissists generally internalize their negative emotion and may experience sadness or shame. Shame has specifically been cited as a key differential between vulnerable and grandiose narcissism. That is, grandiose narcissists do not embody shame, while vulnerable narcissists do. Whilst it's expected that vulnerable narcissists would respond to feedback with negative internalized emotion, two research projects have cast doubt onto this assumption. First, Wallace found that vulnerable narcissistic traits were associated with positive emotions in response to receiving negative feedback. And second, Malcolm found that response high in vulnerable narcissistic traits reacted to negative feedback with less shame, while positive feedback elicited the shame response. Malcolm suggests that this may be attributed to the mindset of the respondents, specifically a fixed mindset where the participants believe their ability is unable to be changed, may elicit feelings of negative self-worth. I investigated this idea and found that a fixed mindset does have a number of commonalities with vulnerable narcissism. For example, both are associated with higher levels of shame and are linked with anxiety and depression. A fixed mindset may have a powerful effect on the shame response for vulnerable narcissists. This idea has never directly been addressed, and so I put forward a research question. Does a fixed mindset mediate the relationship between positive feedback and shame for vulnerable narcissists in higher education? This will be the first study to examine the association of vulnerable narcissism with fixed mindset. This is of importance to the higher education sector, where feedback is an inherent part of the learning process. Additionally, both narcissism and fixed mindsets are prevalent in higher education. Shame proneness is a predisposing factor for a variety of mental health issues. Therefore, finding ways to reduce shame decreases the potential for vulnerable narcissists to develop depression, anxiety, or suicidal thoughts. This research may also open the door to shame-specific interventions that focus on developing a growth mindset. This will benefit individuals that experience shame associated with vulnerable narcissism and provide an avenue for clinicians to better support narcissistic clients. Further research opportunities will likely become apparent through this project. For example, person praise versus process praise is a feedback concept closely related with mindset and may have implications for supporting vulnerable narcissist growth. This sort of research would support feedback strategies for higher education staff. I plan to use the following measures in this study. Vulnerable narcissism will be measured using the 5-factor narcissism inventory. Unlike other commonly used measures, the FFNI includes items for both grandiose and vulnerable narcissism. Shame could be measured using the internalized shame scale, assessing trait shame associated with narcissism, while fixed mindset could be measured using Dweck's 16-item mindset instrument. Lastly, self-esteem could be measured as a control variable due to its high correlation with fixed mindset and narcissism. I would use Rosenberg's self-esteem scale for this. My research will be quantitative, conducted online using self-report surveys. Data would be examined via mediation analysis on SPSS. I plan to recruit at least 100 participants through platforms such as Facebook, Reddit, and Twitter. I would target groups on these sites that discuss narcissistic personality disorder or may have members with higher levels of narcissistic traits. I plan to complete my introduction and ethics application over the next 4 weeks, taking me to the end of teaching period 3, 2019. Due to the positive feedback used in this study, I believe the ethics application is quite low risk. Due to a planned intermission, data collection will occur in Teaching Period 1, 2020, and the discussion, conclusion and final thesis will be completed during Teaching Period 3, 2020. Thank you for watching, and here are my references.